Let's start. Let's break this down. That's a really good overview, but let's talk specifically about Iraq. Here is how Obama fired back at McCain on the war in Iraq. Let's look.
John McCain may like to say he wants to follow Osama bin Laden to the gates of hell, but so far all he's done is follow George Bush into a misguided war in Iraq.
And if we look at the latest poll, voters oppose that war in Iraq by almost 2-1. So, Karl, if it comes down to a question of whether to keep fighting in Iraq, which is McCain's idea, or to begin and pretty quickly to pull out, which Obama says, doesn't Obama win?
No, because Obama's position is, I'm for withdrawal from Iraq regardless of the consequences and the conditions on the ground. The American people don't like this war, but they do not like the idea of withdrawal without paying attention to the conditions on the ground. They want the military commanders to say what we can and should do. They don't want politicians to do it. There was another poll this week that I think said 15% of the American people believed in unconditional withdrawal from Iraq. So if this becomes a battle between a guy who says, look, whether you like whether you agreed with us going there or not, we're there, and the question is, should we stay there and win and pursue the right policy, or should we withdraw without condition and suffer the consequences? And a candidate who says, I'm for withdrawing without regard to what the conditions are, John McCain will win that argument.
All right, but Obama has found a clever way to link the war in Iraq to our domestic problems with the economy here at home. Let's watch.
We are spending $12 billion per month. That is money that we could be spending here in the United States, rebuilding our infrastructure, building schools, sending kids to university.
If he's able to define Iraq in terms of where do you spend that $12 billion, on the battlefield over there or on infrastructure and social programs here, doesn't Obama win?
Well, it's a good argument for Obama, but I'm wondering where it goes, because it really is a very neo-isolationist argument. It basically says, you know, we should not be involved in the world because of the consequences to the budget here at home. Well, we were not involved in the world before 9/11. And look at the cost of the American economy after a terrorist attack on the homeland. We lost a million jobs in 90 days after 9/11. If we were to give up Iraq with the third largest oil reserves in the world to the control of an al-Qaeda regime or to the control of Iran, don't you think $200 a barrel oil would have a cost to the American economy? So it's a cute thing in a primary. I'm not certain over an 8th-month general election that you can make the argument that we ought to take a look at every foreign policy commitment of the United States and measure it on the basis of the number of dollars that we've got there. I happened to be in Los Angeles on Monday, and somebody had heard Obama say this to me. They were a Democrat, and at dinner they said, I'm worried about that, because does that mean he's going to be looking at our support, for example, for the state of Israel, and looking at it in terms of what could we be doing at home with those dollars? And it was a nice line, but I'm not certain how durable a line it is.